It is Culture Wars, where we discuss kind of like the inner tumultuous relationships we have in American soccer in a relation to the world. And today we kind of want to talk about ticket prices and kind of how Americans deal with them compared to those overseas. Jason, are American fans jaded by high ticket prices?
All right, so you're asking this question because Pablo Maurer wrote at The Athletic this story: Club World Cup ticket prices sky high for global fans, normal for jaded U.S. market. I got a little bit of the copy here because it identifies it illuminates us on what those prices are looking like for the Club World Cup that is coming to America this summer. The prices are eye-watering. Want to watch Inter Miami versus Al Ali of Egypt in the tournament opener? A view from the pigeon seats at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium will cost you $230. Get a hair closer to the field, and the prices rapidly increase. $600, $700. FIFA has partnered with Ticketmaster to hawk tickets for this tournament, and on the website's official resale market, prices are already north of $1,000. Things will get progressively worse as the tournament enters the knockout rounds, according to a now-deleted post on German competitor Bayern Munich's website. Tickets in the lower bowl of the stadium will start at $214 for the round of 16, increasing to nearly $500 for the quarterfinals, around $1,000 for the semis, and an astounding $2,230 for the tournament final. And so I guess, okay, those are incredibly high prices, right? And when I saw Pablo and some other people commenting on these prices on Blue Sky, I simply replied, we're being milked. I mean, I hate that visual. It's a terrible visual, Robert. I have
thousands of men across this country getting milked. It's a bad visual.
Right. I have Robert De Niro in my head is what I've got from Meet the Parents. It is ridiculous that FIFA thinks they can pitch their tent here, and this is going to happen for the World Cup in 26. Right, and part of Pablo's story it references the ticket prices for the 1994 World Cup, and obviously inflation is a factor here. But he was talking about how you could go to the Rose Bowl and watch USA Colombia for $25 American. $25 American back in '94, and here we are.
Yeah, my dad bought all the tickets to the Silver Dome. He bought a family of four, all three games to that, and it was no big deal. $25 out the door, and it's the most attended World Cup still.
Yes, it is. It is the most attended World Cup, and I imagine FIFA thinks they're going to break that record, and there's going to be, lots of people lining up to buy the tickets that are on offer for Americans in 2026. I just the jaded part of this. I guess I would need to talk to more people. I mean, jaded implies that we've accepted it as normal. We don't like it, but we've accepted it as normal. And I always have a problem with European clubs coming over for preseason tournaments and people paying $500 to go see players with number 96 on their back play for Liverpool. Like, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But Americans keep doing it. And so if we keep doing it, FIFA and UEFA and the clubs, and they'll keep bringing their tournaments here, and they'll keep doing this. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still angry about it. I'm not jaded by it. I still think it's insane that we're doing this, Robert, but I don't know, as long as FIFA sees a way. And by the way, it's also worth mentioning, and Pablo writes this in his piece, there's adaptive pricing. They're using AI to decide what ticket prices are at any given moment to maximize return, because they're basically like, well, in this moment, if we jack it by $25, people are still going to buy it. Their ticket prices are not going to be static at $1,000 for this seat or $500 for that. They're going to move probably higher.
So just to give an example, say Neymar lands on one of the Club World Cup teams and interest is through the roof to go watch one of their games. That price could go from $500 to $600 depending on the interest. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's just interest. I mean, I do. Yes, of course. Supply and demand is the major driver
rather than interest.
Well, but no, that's you're saying interest. I know you mean demand. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that that's it though. There's some psychological stuff at play here, right? This marketing's always been about psychology, but in this case, it could simply be, at 5 o'clock Eastern time when people are tired and getting off of work, we can jack prices up because they might not be thinking as straight. Like that, I'm talking about being that cynical and dystopian about ticket prices. I mean, I don't have the underlying architecture of the adaptive pricing model to tell you that that's exactly what that model is doing, but that's the kind of thing they will try to exploit. Right? That there is something to be said for, well, what we're doing here is smart business. Now, I'm going to bring in a comment from Nicholas Murray. There's an element here that high ticket prices are seen as a good thing, especially in sports business media, and the fact fans will pay four figures to get into the game is actually good. That's the problem, right? Is that we on one side have the fans who are like, please see my team play? Can I see an interesting game in the Club World Cup for a reasonable price? Can I take my family? And FIFA is like, no. If you want to go, it's $500, $600, $800 a ticket. And if you got a family of four, that's double your mortgage. You know, that you're really going to have to go in. And you know what? If you don't buy them, somebody else will. Right? And because, again,
that's a double-edged sword of capitalism, right?
And because what Nicholas is saying is because of that, then FIFA and UEFA and the clubs and whoever is in organizing anything, any tournament, obviously La Liga and relevant sports and all of those things, they will say more games in America, more games in America, more games in America. So we have this thing where it's like we want more games. Like Pablo's lead talks about going back and looking at issues of Soccer America in like 1993, and everything's about when will soccer make it in America? When will we have big-time soccer in America? And you fast forward to 2025, and here we are. We've got a lot of big-time soccer happening in America, but is it the way we wanted it to happen? Does it feel good the way that we're being milked and exploited? Because that's what's going on here.
Yeah, did soccer get big time? Well, I mean, the big time teams from across the land see the big pocketbooks at the very least, and it does suck to be viewed as that. And it's like, we need to fill the coffers. Let's do an American tour. That's not a good place to feel. And also, it's starting to become a tourism thing. There's been plenty of ink spilled talking about how a lot of Premier League venues are becoming, less atmospheric because there's a lot more foreign tourists. So not only, and the prices are going up to accommodate the people that are willing to travel halfway across the planet to go to their games. So not only is it here for us, and it's also pushing out the locals, and we're getting charged if we went to view it, on location overseas as well.
So this is another thing that works against the true establishment of American soccer, or soccer in America, the way that you and I and most soccer fans and everybody watching want it to work, which is that we want it to be a game accessible to everyone. Yeah. We want this to be the people's game, the way it's been the people's game in all of those other countries that we are jealous of because of their soccer cultures and because of their leagues and their success and their players. So at this point in history, in late stage capitalism, are we in a spot where we can even do that? Establish soccer as the people's game when so much of the best versions of soccer are only accessible to people who are willing to lay down thousands and thousands of dollars to see it. Now, you will bring up, after I called you a Euro snob and you took it very personally, that you support your local team down the street in Oakland County. And that we should do that, right? We should all do that. But let's be real about this. The thing that is most attractive, the thing that's going to get people into the tent in the first place is top-level professional soccer. And because of these ticket prices and because of the way things have turned, it is now inaccessible to a lot of people. It is just very difficult for a lot of people to engage with it in that organic way that maybe that window has closed. Maybe your best bet now as a soccer fan is just to stay at home, buy 6 streaming platforms, watch all the games.
Yeah, is soccer fandom just destined to be the people that go there willing to spend the money? They're just props for the TV product, and the main thing is just sitting at home and watching. I mean, that's what it's a whole lot of people. We're already there for a lot of people, and it's progressing down that road.
We do this too, right? Again, I'm gonna bring Nicholas in because he's saying very smart things, as he always does. To be sure, this isn't just soccer. How much people are prepared to pay to get into the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, World Series has been a story ever since I moved here in 2000. Nicholas is originally from England. So what he's saying is every year the Super Bowl comes around and we get the story that ticket price it's $800 for a nosebleed seat to see the Super Bowl, to go to the Super Bowl. And that's portrayed as a sign of the strength of the game, right? The strength of the popularity of the NFL. Same thing for the World Series, although it's slightly different. The World Series, a little bit more local flavor involved in the attendance, right? I mean, those games are happening in the individual cities of the teams that are in it, and you know, Dodger fans are paying money to go see Dodger games, right? The Super Bowl tends to be this more of a tourist event. But I don't like that Johnny Infantino has dollar signs in his eyes when he looks at the United States of America. And that seems to be the only thing he cares about when it comes to American soccer.
Yeah, the FIFA, he's not enforcing their own mandates that they have of every confederation. There's plenty of items that they don't necessarily acknowledge or engage with, but he's definitely willing to engage with the pocketbooks of folks here. And I didn't take it too personally when you call me a Euro snob. I just have a position as a soccer fan and soccer nerd, I could say, that doesn't necessarily fall into those either ors of MLS doesn't necessarily strike all the chords with me as a soccer lover, but also at the same time, to your point, it's this, we want the best for soccer in America, and I want more and more young people to fall in love. And then we're just talking about the ticket prices specifically. If it costs a kid $250 to get into a game, just how many brand new young fans are we bringing in? Is it just the young fan is just he watches it on television? Is that all we want is from a fandom?
I mean, that's not what we should want. I mean, I'm keenly aware that sometimes I sound like an old guy, right? And
never.
I grew up hearing stories about my grandfather sneaking into Fenway when he visited Boston, and and then you read stories about kids who grew up in Brooklyn paying what 25 cents to get into a Dodgers game or whatever. And obviously those are different times. Things change, the world moves on. You can't recapture a past that doesn't exist anymore. But there is absolutely this thing of you're just making it so removed from the people who should have access to it, right? And you shouldn't have to be rolling in disposable income to go see a soccer game, to go see a good soccer game, right? You shouldn't have to. If they're going to bring the Club World Cup here, I mean, I hear this all the time when it comes to U.S. men's national team games, right? Ticket prices are a story there too as well, Robert.
Of course, yeah.
And it has always been this massive criticism of U.S. soccer that ticket prices are so high and it prevents people who might want to see them. And in a country where we sometimes struggle to fill up a stadium to support our men's national team, it's like, why would you make it inaccessible? Why would you, especially think about the Latino kid who's got family in Mexico and he's growing up in the United States and he wants to support the U.S., but he can't go to the game because ticket prices are $150 to go sit at the top of the stadium. Why would you do that? Make some tickets available. Bring down the ticket prices. Fill the stadium up. Generate fans. Think long-term. Think about the long-term future rather than the quick buck. Now, U.S. soccer has different responsibilities and tensions built into their budgets and all that stuff. And, again, you can justify high ticket prices by using a lot of that rhetoric. But we don't ask the same. We don't demand the same of FIFA when they bring their tournament here. We're not saying, hey, FIFA, why the hell are you making ticket prices so high? Why aren't you making this more accessible? We could grow soccer in America if only you would let people come in the door for $50 or whatever it is. Nobody's doing that. I mean, maybe Pablo Mauer's opening that conversation up, but as he described us, we're jaded, apparently, Rob.
I mean, it's just a shrug of the shoulders, right? I mean, if you don't buy them, it seems pretty evident that someone else will.
Yeah, look at this. I just want to bring this up. Mateo, concessions and parking have exploded along with ticket prices. Goddamn chicken bucket at Yankee Stadium is $30. I went to Yankee Stadium to watch a Red Sox-Yankees game like 7 years ago. It's been a while. I sat out way up in one of the top tiers, and I think I paid $30 for 2 beers. For 2. I paid $30 for 2. Now, they were the tall boys, but 2 beers cost me $30 at a Yankees game. That's
And things have
ridiculous.
changed in the last 7 years too, so they could well be even more. I think there was one major league team. I think it was like the Phoenix Suns or something dropped their prices, and a couple others are trying to be conscientious of that.
Oh, Atlanta United did Atlanta and Uncle Arthur. They dropped all their concession prices. I think that's still a thing. I haven't checked to see if they remained low, but I remember that there was this big story about how Atlanta had slashed their concession prices. Which, yeah, if I'm paying $100 to get in the door, just to get in the door and sit, very far away where I need binoculars to see what's happening on the field, don't charge me $15 for a beer, please.
Thanks everyone for tuning in to Friday's episode of Morning Kickaround. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. We are on the march to 1,000. We've been adding quite a few since surpassing 500, so thank you so much for that. While you're on the Morning Kickaround YouTube channel, click on the Ko-Fi link and donate and support the show. Anything you can provide or share with us would mean the world to us, honestly, and help support the show and keep us growing and improving and making the show the best it could possibly be. Follow us along on social media, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. We are at MKickaround, or write us an email at morningkickaround at